Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome back to Movies That You Never Heard of Month. Boy, do I have a good one for you today, or a bad one in my case. I was underwhelmed by this movie. It's a 1998 American action film directed by Anton Fuqua. You've heard of him, but this movie is one of his early works, so it was before Training Day and the other movies he did, and it's The Replacement Killers. Yeah, I was underwhelmed by this. And also, this was his feature film debut. He's lucky that he got a lot of work after this because guess what? I was not a fan of this movie, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. This has the film was released in the US February of 98. Yeah, a winter movie. Yeah, that was a bad sign number one. The film was conceived by a screenplay by Ken Sanzel, veteran action director John Woo co-produced it. He should have been the director of this movie because at least he had experience by 1998. And he also choreographed the action sequences. The action sequences are one of the only good things in this movie. That and a couple of other things. The film is set in modern day Los Angeles. Not really, it's 2020. An emotionally disillusioned assassin who is forced to settle a violent vendetta for a ruthless crime boss. The film marks the American acting debut for Chow Yun-fat. Yeah, his previous film credits include Hong Kong action cinema only, of course, because he was, in a bunch of John Woo films like Hard Boiled and The Killers. So, of course, that made sense. But he's not the problem with the movie. The film is short. It's only 90. It's 87 minutes long, so it's not gonna cost too much time. There's some subtitles in the movie, but I can let it go. Chow Yun-fat is Asian, so I can let it go. The biggest problem in this movie is her. Holy shit on the shingle. Mira Sorvino's awful in this freaking movie. I don't know what happened after she won an Oscar, but Anton Fuqua couldn't direct her in this movie. She's soulless. She's boring. She's a damsel in distress most of the film. She tries to act tough by doing two things: pointing a gun at someone like this, or screaming like "Ah!" I'm sorry, that's not a badass. Did you see Captain Marvel last year? That's a female badass. And Brie Larson got so much shit for her acting in that movie, yet she made $1 billion. Watch this movie flopped because Mira Sorvino is not good in the movie. She's horrible. There's a gratuitous scene where she's like getting dressed and they have to show her in her panties. It leads to nothing. There's no sex scene. She's not stripping. She's just putting on some pants. Wow, I creamed my pants. You could have done the movie without her. You could have gotten a much better actress back in 1998. You could have gotten Natasha Henstridge or freaking anybody. Kelly Hu, an Asian actress. Lucy Liu. She was. What was she doing in '98? Uh, I think she was doing that Mel Gibson movie, but she could have been in this movie too. Mir Savino's awful in the film, guys. Trust me. There's a reason I've never been a fan of hers. There's a reason that no one remembers this movie because she's just terrible. She brings the film down for me too much. Good things. Chow Yun-fat's a good lead. The action is really good. It's fast paced for the most part. The story is kind of interesting. Michael Rooker's good, uh, but kind of underused, and also Jurgen Prochnow. He should have been in it more. I'm sorry, Fuqua, but yeah, who wrote this movie? Ken Sanzel. I never even heard of him. Doesn't know how to write. You can't write, dude. Anyway, yeah. Replacement Killers premiered in theaters nationwide in the U.S. in February. It made $19 million on a budget of 30. Ha! You failed. That's why nobody remembers you. That's why no one's heard of this movie. I bet Jaquez, you've heard of this movie, but I was disappointed. Taking in account its $30 million budget, the film was considered a disappointing box office flop. Yeah, you think? Reindeer Games was better than this freaking movie, and that got a director's cut. And Ben Affleck is not sleepwalking in that movie. He shows emotion. The film's critical response did not fare better either. Preceding its initial screening to the public, it was generally met with mixed reviews. Thank you. That's how I felt. Mixed. You have awesome action sequences wasted on this shitty actress who won an Oscar. I don't know for what. For being sexy, I guess, because her acting did not transfer well to Asian cinema. It was generally met with mixed to negative reviews. A widescreen DVD edition featured scene selection for featurettes and interviews, and there was a director's cut, I think. Yeah, and yeah, it went up against Titanic. Do I need to say anything else about it? Its box office. It was a Birds of Prey, like 22 years before. And yeah, I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that, but I don't care, guys. I'm not Birds of Prey. I had no interest in it. Even the TV show that came out, I didn't care about it. But this is about the movie. Among mainstream critics in the US, the film received mostly negative reviews. Most criticized style over substance. Thank you. Great action sequences. Really good. I can see what's going on. It's shot well. There's blood. It's an R rating, but there's no substance because you have a lead girl that can't act. She's whispering half her dialogue like this, and then half the other time she's yelling. And I'm like, what are you, Eddie Redmayne in Jupiter Ascending? You gotta pick one or the other. Either be loud or be freaking soft. You can't do both. It didn't work for Eddie Redmayne. He got a Razzie nomination for that. Yeah, it says lack of chemistry between the main characters. Oh yeah, ain't that the truth? Chow Yun Fat is this cold, very quiet character that kills and shoots a lot. Awesome. And then you have this boring ass freaking blonde. Again, we have Brie Larson. We're doing a lot better than you, Mira Sorvino. What was your last big movie in the theater? Let me see. Stuber, that shitty action comedy from last year, where she probably doesn't appear until like halfway through the movie and she's old now. I'm sorry to harp on her, but she's awful in this movie. You could have gotten anybody else. Hell, Sandra Bullock after Speed would have been better in this than in Speed 2. Yeah, give her this movie. If you reversed it, Sandra Bullock would at least give it a performance. And I'm not a fan of her either, but at least in Speed, I like her in that. It says here, yeah, a weak plot. The Hong Kong style cinematography, visuals, and action were praised. That's the only thing in the movie worth a shit. And also that arcade scene, because it would brought back a lot of memories. Those seem to deliver less than their fully potential. Again, this feels like an Asian movie stuck in a freaking American movie. And in this case, it didn't work. Here's what a critic said in Cinema Score. Or no, from Chicago Times, Roger Ebert. May he rest in peace. What I liked about the film was its simplicity of form and its richness of visuals. There's a certain impersonality about the story. Chow Yun Fat don't have long chats between the gunfire. They're in a ballet of Hong Kong action imagery. Uh, Bodies rolling out of gunshot range, faces frozen in fear, guys toppling off fire escapes, grim lips in the fetishism of firearms, car shots to pieces, cops that make dragnets sound talky. Again, I can respect that, but I'm sorry, Roger Ebert. This movie bored me. Whenever Mira Sorvino was on the screen, and she doesn't appear until like 17 minutes into the movie. By that time, the film just sinks like a rock. She's got the same. I have the same issue that I had with The Force Awakens. Movie starts off really good, and then you have the shitty actress that destroys the movie for me. I'm not a sexist, guys. Again, female lead, $1 billion, won an Oscar, is doing great freaking work now. Even Olivia Wilde, she directed her first film last year. I wasn't crazy about some of the writing, but I thought she did a good job with the two lead girls. They had the chemistry. These two do not. Sorry. That's why Mira Sorvino never worked with Anton Fuqua again. Yeah, Destin Thompson. I love this review. I know I'm not a big fan of critics, but this is from a long time ago, so I can let it go. Destin Thompson of the Washington Post stated that without Chow Yun Fat, who makes his American screen debut here, there'd be nothing to say about the replacing killers. Thank you. This would have been a direct-to-video film with Steven Seagal in the late '90s, early 2000s, easily. Because I'm sorry, Mira Sorvino just ruined the movie for me. I knew she was going to do that. Anton Fuqua's action movie is entirely free of surprises. It breaks no rules. It doesn't take chances. It takes no risks. And yes, this is a rant because I'm tired of action movies underwhelming me. This came out the same year as Blade. There was no freaking excuse. Blade was badass and still holds up. This is just dull. It says he did, however, muse that Chow's pretty face and cool presence are inescapable. You don't enjoy this movie so much as you conduct a road test for the Hong Kong actor. Yes, he can survive in an English language picture. He did. Bulletproof Monk is better than this, and that's a PG-13. He's done worse than this, definitely. He did Dragon Ball Evolution. Yeah, that's way worse. That's one of the worst movies ever made. They perceive the film remains a counterfeit of a woof movie. Exactly. This felt like the hard boiled of the killers, just with American actors thrown in there, so it wouldn't be completely subtitled. He turned the directing chores over to first time Anton Fuqua, who previously worked on music videos. Please stop doing that. Stop casting directors that did music videos. If they can't do a film right, give it to somebody that can. The script by Ken Zansel is the work of someone who's seen Wu films and was personally moved by the experience. What did this guy do? He's the reason for my misery. because the writing was just on the wall, and they try to give her one liners where she's like, I'm gonna put a bullet in your head, and she shoots Fergus Prochnow in the, not in the head, in the chest. Continuity, what is that? Is that a foreign language to you, freaking Ken Sanzel? She said, I'm gonna put a bullet in your head, not in the chest. Yeah, freaking idiots. I'm gonna rate this movie. I'm giving it a 4. Mira Sorvino, you can't act. I don't know what the Academy ever saw in you. These old guys were probably jerking off to you in Mighty Aphrodite, because you certainly didn't win it for your acting. Because I don't know what acting you're. Oh, I'm a horny woman. Again, Brie Larson can do that in her sleep. Even Charlize Theron, I'm not a fan of hers, but in Monster, she actually gave a performance in that. I've seen clips. I know. Ken Sanzel, what did this asshole do? I never heard of his stuff. He's produced a bunch of TV shows. What did he write? Lawless, a TV show, Johnny Zero, Numbers, Blue Bloods. Yeah, you can't write a freaking movie, guy. Maybe you could write a TV show. It's short, 30, 45 minutes. It's that. That's quick. But you can't write a 90-minute movie. It's inconsistent. And you wrote one of the most boring freaking lead women I've ever seen. And I'm not a sexist, guys. Again, or Amy Jo Johnson in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the show and the movie. She's badass. She's not a freaking bore. She's not whispering half of her dialogue. The Corruptor better be better than this, because that was a year after this, and it had Chow Yun Fat again. But this one has Mark Wahlberg, who doesn't have to whisper his lines in everything. That's why people hated him in The Happening, because it's a laughable performance. And a bad performance can ruin a movie, guys. Trust me. Mira was just never for me. Never. Mm-mm. There's a reason Marissa Tomei did a bunch of MCU movies and you did not, Mira. Your father is a better actor, Paul Sorvino. He never whispers in a freaking movie. He doesn't go, the neighborhood is coming down. I have a gun. I'm going to drive a van and scream like this. Yeah, fuck you, Mira Sorvino. You're one of the worst actresses I've ever seen that won an Oscar. You did not reach your full potential. And she looks like a mix of, if you took Brie Larson, Amber Heard, and freaking and Alison Michalka, you put them in a blender and you add a little bit of Kristen Stewart, there you go. There's Mira Sorvino for you. Fuck you in the ass. And as a fellow New Yorker, I'm insulted. And she's getting a lot of work, but in movies I never heard of. But just stop. The only movie people remember you for was Mighty Aphrodite and Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, which that has Lisa Kudrow. Yeah, she's a better actress than you. She is. She never did a movie that I actually liked her in. Not one. I saw Reservation Road. I'm sorry, Joaquin Phoenix and freaking Mark Ruffalo are better than you. Joaquin just won an Oscar. He can do it. He's weird, yeah, but he can act. Yeah, here it is, Reservation Road. That was a much better movie because at least I was invested in the story. And Mark Ruffalo and Joaquin Phoenix, their acting is way better. They can whisper and it'd be more exciting than you. You're boring. Get out of my freaking life, please. Oh, that's harsh. Give her a break. No, this movie would have been so much better without this woman. Honestly, Chow Yun Fat alone kicking ass would have been a lot better. He has no chemistry with her. He doesn't even kiss her at the end. He touches her face, and then she wants to show emotion at the end. Too little, too late. You have to show emotion throughout the movie, not be this boring forger that whispers her dialogue and then she's yelling out of nowhere. Again, Eddie Redmayne and Jupiter Ascending. Look it up. Yeah, I didn't care for this movie, guys. Replacement Killers gets a thumbs down from me. It deserved to bomb. Chow Yun Fat deserved a better debut in the U.S. I'm glad it did better films than this in the 2000s. Hell, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was better than this, and I've heard great things about that. The first one. Here, I'm bored out of my freaking mind. He was better in Pirates of the Caribbean 3, and I hate that movie. That movie's boring and long, and it has the same problem. A freaking female lead that can act and is yelling half her dialogue. You know, the master of yelling is Jim Carrey. The guy can yell and be whispering, and he can still pull it off. See the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. He's having a ball here. Here, this woman is sleepwalking. And she ruined the movie for me. Just like that Block of Wood, Daisy Ridley. That she does the same thing in every movie. She's got that expressionless face of that. I'm sick of that lemon sucking face. Show some emotion. Again, Yeah, I'm gonna keep pointing at that poster. Oh, for all the shit that Brie Larson got, she already won an Oscar before she did Captain Marvel. That's what opened the doors for her. For Mira Sorvino, what did she do? A couple of comedies, an action movie that bombed, and she did Stuber. Do I have to say anything else, guys? She's one of my least favorite actresses ever. I'm sorry, Josh. If you find her attractive, that's on you. You like white girls. I get it. I get the appeal. Again, Scarlett Johansson, Brie Larson, freaking Lucy Hale. I love white women, but when they're boring, like Kristen Stewart, they can suck it. And this movie can suck it. Sorry, Anton Fuqua, you've done better than this. But Ken Sanzel can't write. You can't write, dude. You can't write. That's why he never did another film. Because TV, you can condense it to 30 minutes or 45 minutes. There's less writing you have to do. In a freaking movie, you got to put effort. Because if you don't, you flop. But anyway, the movie it has some good action, but just see the action scenes on YouTube. You don't need to see the other hour of bullshit that Mira Sorvino does. She ruined this movie for me. Thumbs down. I hope you guys don't check it out. It's a one watch. It's not worth owning. See you guys in the next one.